What's up, Tang Gang? We are back with another video, and this time it's a live stream, all right? Got my friend here, the Hudsman. Okay, it's for an epic crossover event, and it's almost the holidays. So I'm wearing my ugly sweater. It's brewed off right there. Guys have seen on social media and some of my videos. All right, so Alex, man, take it away. How did we meet? And tell my audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure, man. And thanks so much for doing this with me. I think this is a great conversation to have, the journey from boy to man. And
Hmm.
I have even seen that you're like with you. I mean, it's crazy, man. So I'm a dating coach, and Jesse had reached out in the past and was just kind of shopping around for somebody that resonated with them. That's how we first met. And I have to say, like, dude, the journey that I've seen you go through, from how awkward and weird you were when I first met you to like how well you speak now, like
Oh,
you
yeah.
really have gone through that journey of boy to man. It's crazy.
Hmm. Well, to be honest, man, when we first met, it was a little more than a year apart, and to you, it seems like a huge transition. But for me, it was just literally getting better every day. Keep putting myself out there, learning social skills, learning style, and basically working my body as well, and figuring out, what I really wanted to do with my life. Because, I was in a job that I hated. I was living in a crappy studio apartment that I wanted to get out of, and just so many people they're stuck in positions that they hate, and it's like they don't even make the change to get out of it. I knew I had to make a change, so moved to a better part of town, became self-employed, and just adapted you know
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that, because when you're stuck in a rut, how
right.
do you get out of it, and how do you even figure out, like, whether it be finding certain coaches or just developing yourself, whether it's just going to the gym more or being more, financially frugal? What were the steps that you took to change your life?
Well, it's very simple, actually. If you want something, if you're not happy with where you're at, you got to take the right action to get there. And the work needs to be done regardless of how you feel. I always talk about that on my channel. How you feel, your emotions are irrelevant. Some days are going to be sad, some days are going to be mad. The work needs to be done regardless if you want to become the person that you really want to be. So, I worked overnights at Lowe's, and it was miserable. My circadian rhythm was all messed up. I wasn't making the money I was making. My boss was a jerk, and I knew that I had to make something work and dig my way out of the trenches. So that's why I left that job and took a big risk to become self-employed. Started contracting with multiple delivery companies, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Shipped, Instacart. I did a bit of everything, and even did Lyft, rideshare too. And from there, I just figured out what worked best for me and my area too. That's actually where I grew my clientele with Shipped, because you know I really got to give back to my community, and in doing so, I was able to acquire a lot of customers that I repeatedly shopped for again and again. And in doing so, I was able to maximize cash flow, but also, no, spending that time at the gym, progressive overload to get in shape. Because you remember, I used to be kind of chubby, right? And then
A
my
little bit.
right, my diet was terrible too. I'd eat like the Milky Way bars from the break room. I just didn't care back then, but really getting my diet on point really changed too. Because if you look good, you'll feel good.
Hmm.
And of course, working on social skills too, because to be honest, when you're first starting out, I've told you in the past how sometimes I get some cringe attacks when I think back at embarrassing situations I've been in. But the fact of the matter is, you're going to have to look stupid first starting out. You're going to have to go through those rejections, those embarrassing interactions. And I emphasize people to go out solo too, because it really forces you to push your comfort zone, and it forces you to confront a lot of those inner demons you have in your head, those insecurities when you go out solo. So that's what I did a lot too. Sometimes by choice, and sometimes because my friends weren't feeling it.
Mhm.
but going out solo and learning that, social calibration and what people respond well to and what they don't. I eventually developed my social skills.
Yeah, no, and for sure. And you had shared with me, you sent me like a whole bunch of photos of
Mhm.
you going out solo and just meeting a bunch of random people.
Oh
That
yeah.
is such a test, especially if you were considering just dating. That is such a test on how you perform with a bunch of strangers. And I think it's the ultimate litmus test because otherwise, if you're always relying on a group of people or other people to go out with, you're not exactly going to improve because let's say you get blown out. Okay, you can just walk back to your friends. Let's say you get blown out when you're by yourself. You don't have anybody to walk back to. You're still alone. So it really teaches you how people interact and how to interact best with them.
Right, right. And I've been telling you this something in the past too, that right now I'm just trying to forge myself into the man, because no matter what, the manosphere, manoswam, boyosphere, whatever, complainosphere, so many acronyms, whatever they want to call it, there may be a hint of truth that women want the guys at the top, and they just complain, oh, why is it so unfair that that women only want the guys at the top. Well, what are you actually going to do about it? Like, I made videos about this too. Like, life isn't fair. It was never meant to be fair, and it'll never be fair. Like, but what are you actually going to do about it to improve yourself so that you do get the results you really want in life? Like, a lot of people won't go through that pain and struggle to reach the other side, but in order to not suffer in the long term, you need to suffer a bit in the short term. Just remember that the suffering will come regardless. So are you going to suffer now, or are you going to suffer later?
That's good. I like how you put that because that's the truth. Yeah, you got to put the hard work in. And if you put the hard work in now, then the things that you have on the other side could be absolutely amazing. However, if you don't put in any work at all, you're just going to suffer slowly over time. So it's either a harder suffering now or a long term suffering.
Right, right. And the thing about pickup and game PUA, because I used to do that stuff. I used to think that if I just said a bunch of lines, a woman would like me and go on a date with me and all that. And it's not actually how it works. You actually need to be the byproduct of success and not use these manipulation tactics to, try and get a girl to go out with you, because what you're doing, you're putting up a front like you are this high value person when you're actually not. When it's much easier just to be the byproduct of success, and you can actually talk like a normal person instead of a weirdo running around using pickup tactics.
Yeah, no, that's it's a really, really good point. It makes me think of one of my friends from college, and what he would do is like he was really good at doing pickup and getting laid, but he could never have a girl come over a second time because
Hmm.
he didn't have the social skills. And it's just so important, especially to be successful in business. I mean, you're self-employed and you
Oh
do
yeah.
very well for yourself.
Hmm.
So to be self-employed, to do well in business, to have relationships, you need to develop those social skills.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels.
Right, right. And the reason I also decided to start a YouTube channel was because I really wanted to spread my message, because I had all this information in my head, and just posting about it on Facebook and Instagram, there it wasn't enough. I felt like I can do more to spread my message. That's why I got started on YouTube, and it's just every video was just a topic I came up with in my head, and I decided to spread my message to the world.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love YouTube. What
Hmm.
one of the best inventions of this century because
Hmm.
it really does. It allows us to not only share a message, but we got entertainment. We can also learn. You know,
Hmm.
in the past, if you wanted to learn how to lose weight or hit the gym right, have certain routines, or even just talking about like P-Way and getting the confidence to go out there and meeting women, I mean, it's a wealth of information right there in front of us, completely for free.
Right. Now, let me address Truth. He's a pretty active in chat. I mean, like, don't take it personally. Like, you got blown out by 35 women. So what? There's going to be in 35 the next night, and then the next night. Like, keep shooting your shot, but also start working on yourself. Develop your social skills, become the most attractive man that you can be. And ultimately men don't have dating problems usually. They have personal problems that reflect in their dating life. That's the best way to describe it.
That's a really good point, and I want to point out with this 35. Let's say it is actually 35 women. That's a lot. So it definitely is something that you're doing that is, maybe one of those like personal issues that's being conveyed through how you're doing everything. However, it's not something to get discouraged on because you're going to have a lot of blowouts before you start to get that smoothness going. I know for me, when I do cold approach, I mean, even the best players in the game, it's only about 1 out of 10. Um, it's just a numbers game. It's how it works.
Right. And dude, truth, to be honest with you, like if your biggest concern is that some woman won't respond back to your text, I think you have bigger things to worry about. Like you need bigger problems if that's your biggest problem.
Yeah, and as Ahmad saying here, um, enjoy the process. You really have to enjoy the process because when you think about it, I like to think about it all the time. Like when you're suffering to get to a goal and you're stressed out and it sucks, you're thinking about how much it sucks. But then once you finish the whole thing, you look back and you love and remember all those times you were struggling. If
Hmm.
somebody gives you $1 million, you're gonna, yes, appreciate that moment, but there was no struggle to get there.
Right, right. And it's all about the journey and not the end result. I'm sure everyone's probably heard that a million times, but it's true. It's who you've become in that process, that struggle, that and then the person that you've become, and then afterwards, climbing the next mountain and then the next mountain, so that before you leave this earth, like you're able to accomplish as much as you can and really make your mark on this world, because should never be too comfortable, should always strive to climb the next mountain. Because look at someone like Andrew Tate. After he stopped doing the professional fighting, he started like a webcam business. He became a millionaire. So there's always that next mountain to climb.
Absolutely. And truth, even with what you're saying here, I'm sorry, man. It's just the reality. Some people are born naturally with great looks and they can get women pretty easily. However, that's also a curse in and of itself because they don't have the social skills to keep the woman. So understand that everything comes, and all of us have, we're born, if you think of like any type of RPG game, we're all born with different values in the different areas of life. And then it's up to us to level up in the other areas so that we can live the life that we really want. And you don't ever want to stop. There is no cap to your potential. You want to keep working, and whatever you want to be working on, whatever area of life, keep going, man, because you never know what's on that other side once you've reached a certain level.
Right, right. And to add to that, like most people these days, to be honest, they're weak as piss. Like they give up way too soon before they're even close to getting the results that they really want. They try a few things, whether it's in dating, business, or fitness, whatever, and it doesn't work out. Like they just throw in the towel way too soon. That's my problem with the current society. And also, I mean, to be honest, there's a point where you can struggle to get something and then you can pivot and go in a different direction, kind of like the Roomba robot. But you should never just give up on, wanting to accomplish your goals in life.
Yeah, and I don't think, here's another thing too. Don't ever apologize for who you are or who you want to be. Because a lot of times I haven't even said this one or thought about it in a while, but one thing that I experienced, and you may be experiencing as you're starting your YouTube channel, is that as soon as I started to become a dating coach, it was like crabs in a bucket. And I had a lot of people from my past trying to tear me down because
Hmm.
they didn't want me to reach the next level. So
Hmm.
don't let others tear you down when
Right.
you're on your journey because they will. They will discourage you.
Right. So, speaking of which, when I went on this entrepreneurial journey, I actually had to cut off a few drinking buddies because they were ultimately holding me back from success. You need to put yourself around people who are going to lift you up, not pull you down, like the crabs in the barrel analogy. If you're the sum of the five people you hang out with, so if you're hanging out with five losers, you're the sixth loser. Should be putting yourself around successful people who are gonna bring you up, who are gonna who have been there, done that. And another thing I encourage a lot of guys is, you know, a lot of guys they don't have that masculine father figure, so they're lost in life. And I actually found those father figures, through online mentorships. I got a lot of mentors who ultimately taught me, what I was doing right and wrong, and what it actually means to be a man. And not in this sugar-coated society where it's okay just to be okay. Like, it's not okay just to be okay. Like, I'm trying to be the very best.
Yeah. No, that's great point. Great point. So yeah, you've come a long way.
Hmm.
I want to ask you, when you became self-employed,
Hmm.
like you were leaving a job,
Right.
were you guaranteed was that risky? I guess that's kind of what I'm asking. Was that risky? Were you
Huds,
guaranteed that when you
it
left that you were going to make the same amount or a similar amount of money, or were you just like saying, "Screw it, I'm going for it"?
like here. Like that job like screwed me up. Like this is the wrist brace I wore like during when I was working. Like it was messing up my body. I had no choice. Like I was working overnights. When I was sleeping, everyone else was awake. When I was awake, everyone else was sleeping. I had to make something work. Okay.
Mhm.
I'd rather be unemployed than keep working at that job. So I had to take that risk. Now I'm making more than what I was, at the time. But as a man, you got to take those risks in life to, get the rewards that you really want. So I just knew, like, was it risky? Like, did I have doubt? Yeah, of course, of course. But what's the alternative? Just keep suffering? Like,
Mm.
I felt like I had no choice. Basically, it was I had to dig my way out of the trenches.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And, a lot of times you'll find that as a man, you will step up to the occasion
Oh
and things
yeah.
will work themselves out. There is only one person in my professional life that I know that did something like that.
Hmm.
And he made the wrong choice and he ended up
Mm.
coming back to the company. But
Mm.
every other time, and I know for myself, every time I move a job, I'm scared. I'm
Mm.
scared for change and I'm scared for what it's going to be like because you don't know until you're actually in there in the trenches. But more often than not, it works itself out. So if you're unhappy with your current position in life or your current job, whatever it may be, all it takes is that first step.
Right. And another thing that's helped me out a lot was just cutting out, bad influences because look at the typical person nowadays playing video games, smoking pot, drinking, eating junk food, putting junk in their body, literally wasting all their time. And they wonder why their life sucks. So, as a top 20% man, a top 1%, I'm actually striving to be a top 1% man, to be honest, but we have good habits, we take care of our bodies, and we actually care about our future, and we're actually trying to make our mark on this world. So, it's like I'm reaching the tail end of 27 because I'm turning 28 soon. It's like my life just begun. It's like looking back around this time, winter time, I didn't really know like what to do. I was just so lost, like so many guys. I just at home playing video games on dirty websites I shouldn't be on. But it's like I didn't know what to do, and it's plus with the cold weather outside. It's like I'm finally starting to figure out like what I actually want to do with my life, and it's amazing. It's gonna be a tough process going forward, but it's like I'm finally not wasting my time anymore.
Yeah, no, that's great. And what you identified is I am wasting my time with these certain things. So I'm going to search content, read books, all this type of stuff in this area of self development so that I can learn what are these things that I could be working on. So then you're filling up your time not with video games or dirty websites, you're filling up your time with education. And then it's up to you to act on it. I think that's fantastic. Now, I have to ask you, this entire year for you has been crazy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now, 2023, what are your goals moving forward?
Definitely just to continue to be the best man that I can be. I'm working towards hopefully getting monetized on YouTube, so it'll be another stream of income. And also, looking to more ideas of, making money online. Um, I don't know if I told you this, but I'm part of several entrepreneurial groups too, and meeting with like-minded individuals to grow my high-value social circle. But as far as goals when it comes to dating, I want to create this life where I can bring a woman in because you know I want to live a cool lifestyle because there's the reason that the top guys on dating apps get all the results because they display that they have an interesting lifestyle, that they're a man of value. So in order to be one of the top guys, I just need to play my cards right and keep building and building so that if I were to have a girlfriend one day, that I can have this amazing life that I can bring her into. And even if things don't work out, doors right there. I can easily replace her too. Because
Hmm.
too many guys, you've talked about this with Rich Cooper too. Too many guys have the scarcity mindset who, settle with the first woman that shows them attention. And I have gone out with low quality women before, but just knowing what I know, it's good that I'm no longer in contact with them, and but it also shows I'm maybe not at the point where I can really obtain the woman that the caliber of woman that I really want. So that means I still have
Hmm.
some work to do, but I can get there eventually if I play my cards right.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's huge. Once you have everything on lock, then if things don't work out, you just brush it off. I know
Hmm.
for me, like even going through my journey with women, um, it still happens where you just meet crappy girls and
Hmm.
people that ghost you or blow you off
Hmm.
because there's not everybody in the world is a good person. There
Hmm.
are a lot of crappy people out there, but you know it's like kind of digging through. It's like trying to find a needle in the haystack almost.
Right,
But
right. Rich Cooper
it's a
talks
part
about
of
it all
that.
the time. Digging through a lot of dirt to find gold.
Hmm. Exactly. But it's just part of the process. And that's what's so amazing about the process
Hmm.
because you get to see the good, the bad, the ugly. It shapes you, it makes you tougher. And then when you get to the end of the road, it's a very beautiful thing.
Right, right. And no, based on your own value and your own self-esteem, what you think of yourself, like these days I react completely differently to blowouts because when I first got into game, if I would get blown out, I would think, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Oh my god, am I ugly? But now that, I'm working towards being a man of value, like when it happens, I just kind of laugh a little on the inside. I'm just like, okay, have a good one. Like it doesn't even like bother me anymore. I just think it's funny now. So it's their loss. So
That's good. Yeah. No, it's great to have that type of attitude towards it because I think that's one of, and you correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that you're thinking about Jesse today. When you think about yourself, you're not thinking about yourself today. You're thinking about what you're going to become.
oh yeah, yeah, that too.
And so that just gives you that inner confidence to be able to deal with rejection or any struggles that you're having.
My family's Chinese, so in our culture, what they do is dating for the typical guy in China is actually pretty easy. Rich families, well-known families, just almost have like a prearranged marriage, similar to some Middle Eastern Indian cultures, where hey, I'm going to introduce my son to your daughter. So the guy, there's very little work he needs to do on his end. He just gets everything handed to him on a plate. So but being an Asian American and in the Western world, I know that I have to be a man of value and work towards being the best man I can be. It's not like back home where things are handed to you on a plate. Here, like I actually need to work for what I want, and that prevents me from just being a spoiled brat and getting things too easily in life. I think there has to be some challenge. What are your thoughts,
Mhm.
man?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's kind of what I was saying before. Is like if you have to go through a lot of trials and tribulations to get what you want, let's just say it is that $1 million I was saying before, you're going to look back on that journey and you're just going to be so happy and you're going to love the roller coaster you went through. Whereas
Mm.
if somebody just hands you $1 million, that moment of getting the $1 million is going to be exciting, but it's not going to feel as good as when you actually earned it and you finally hit that goal. It's the same type of thing. You need to go through that roller coaster to get to that end goal for it to really, really be worth something.
Right. And the thing that I don't like about the manosphere is they just complain. It's the complainosphere. They just, oh, female nature that, female nature this, but they never actually, work on themselves and figure out, what's wrong with them, and um becoming the best man that they can be. Um
So I would actually disagree with you slightly. I think there are some out there that do talk about self improvement.
oh
However,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the
Yeah,
manosphere is huge, so yeah.
yeah, exactly. But there are too many people that just complain and doom and
Oh yeah.
gloom. Especially when you think like black pill guys
Mhm.
and whatnot. But I think that we can definitely work on that by giving more tools
Mhm.
for people. I don't think we give enough tools on how to navigate certain things in life. And I think that by doing so, it can really help people accelerate. Because I'll tell you what, I have a lot of friends that had come into the manosphere and self development space, and then they absorb the information, they actually apply stuff, and then they kind of graduate, so to say,
Mhm.
and then they have no need to be here anymore because they pick and choose the right people who can give them the right information.
Mhm.
Because that's isn't that the whole point? I mean, that's what I tell clients all the time. Once we're finished doing consulting, I really don't want to hear from you again. And the reason why I say that, and a lot of them do become actual friends, so I do talk to them anyways. Um, but I say that to them because once we go through this process, I want you to have the skills so that you never need to come back to me again. That's what
Right.
I'm meaning by that. And I think that's very important. I think that gets missed sometimes is we're not teaching those skills so that people can be successful and
Mhm.
graduate and move forward in life. Instead, it's a lot of the complaining, and then a lot of people can resonate with the complaining because they've
Mhm.
experienced similar things. And
Right.
so then it just becomes kind of like instead of going out and socializing, you stay in and you listen to certain podcasts or people talk about things, complaining about women because you also have complaints about women, and then it just keeps you in a cycle.
Right, right. The problem with a lot of those guys who complain a lot, they have this victim mentality. They act like they are owed something. Like the world doesn't owe you anything. Like become a man of value and you'll get what you want.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. And I think that that's getting so lost nowadays because especially with everything that goes on with media and all these different movements, it's like whine, complain, oh, I'm the victim, and then somehow I'll get something out of it. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. And you as a man should understand more than anybody, it does not work that way.
Right, right. Now we've talked about me and where I see myself going forward. What about you? Like, where do you see yourself with your dating business, with your current job? Where do you see yourself in the future? What are you working towards right now?
Sure. So I'm actually in the middle of a project right now that is going to be
Hmm.
pretty interesting because I've
Hmm.
been working with a lot of guys in the manosphere.
Hmm.
However, I kind of want to bridge what I do with dating
Hmm.
and the advice that I have there with some other topics. Now, I know some people would say, "Oh, that's more like purple pill or whatever," and like red pill people hate purple pill stuff. Like, dude, I don't care. It's about healthy, happy relationships. So, one of the things I'm going to be doing, and I'm working on this project right now, is going to be doing an interview series. I'm trying to set it up so it'd be in-person interviews
Hmm.
with um, with certain industries. So let's say, for example, I do an in-person interview with a chef. Okay,
Mm.
so I'd go to like a culinary school or a restaurant, and I would have a discussion with them on just kind of their life, their experiences, and then twist it slightly into dating. So asking questions on like what types of meals are best for first dates, like what makes you the least amount of bloated. But really, I want to do something like that where I'm branching outside of just dating or manosphere stuff, and I want to bring people forward. I want to experience other topics and then twist it into dating however I can. So that's really my big focus because I don't know about you, I love learning. So
Mm.
if I can learn about other people, other areas of life, like heck, if I went to like a barber and interviewed a barber, I want to learn what that life is like. Like I work as a dating coach, and then I'm also in IT.
Hmm.
So I know that realm of life, but I don't know a lot of the others. So I just think it'd be really cool. And then to be able to bring out certain things as they relate to dating, if it makes sense. If not, heck, I get to learn a lot from somebody in an area, a field that I would have never learned otherwise.
Right, right. And where I see myself is growing the YouTube channel, but also, eventually I need to stop trading time on Earth for money and start building passive income. That's why eventually I want to
Mm.
invest in real estate as well. See guys like Grant Cardone and even John Samez, he invests in real estate too, and that's a true way to build passive income where you're able to make money without doing a whole lot. So, you know, too many people, especially those who work in the corporate world, but even a few who are self-employed are just trading their time on earth for a dollar amount. And it's not until they're like 40, 50 where they can finally enjoy life. And by then they're old. Like I want to enjoy life like in my 30s, in my 40s. So, you know, that's why I'm looking towards real estate investments so I can, build passive income so that I can be financially free and eventually be able to travel and live life on my own terms.
It's a good point. It's one thing I've been working on myself. I tend to do my passive income through crypto,
Hmm.
and I have to be like laser focused on certain things because I'll move from protocol to protocol, whichever is going to give me the highest gain. And it's done pretty well for me so far. I don't want to have to be an active trader, but that's one way I've been doing passive income. But real estate is a great point. That's something that I want to work towards as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing this right now, doing the dating coaching. I've
Hmm.
got my other job, but I really want to move towards starting to own properties. That's a good one.
Right, right. And I would find myself in a similar situation, when I left the corporate world after working there for a decade. There's still a lot of uncertainty because once you buy a property, you owe all that money. Yeah, you gradually pay it off, but like you're going to owe a couple $100,000. So, you have to be able to know what you're doing too. And, there's no guarantee that you'll get tenants too. So those are all things to take into consideration. You don't know if a tenant's going to pay you on time. You could get a property manager but that's more money out of your pocket. And, that's just stuff that's out of your control. But sometimes you do need to take those risks to get the rewards in life. Because if you never try, you'll never know.
Right. No, it's a yeah, exactly. 100%. 100%. And I was going to ask you at some point like what advice would you give to your younger self, but I think you've been saying a lot of it and it's just do it. Take the risks.
Definitely. I think First Man, a few other guys on YouTube definitely talk about this, but a man's value goes up with age. So, if you're a young 17-year-old, 18-year-old boy, well, you don't have, a whole lot of value. Let's say you're a 17-year-old boy and you try to apply for a six-figure job. I'm not saying that's impossible, but the hiring manager is probably going to be like, "What? You're 17, kid. Like, we'll take you on as an intern, but like we can't give you the job. You're too young. You don't have enough experience." So, you know, but that same guy a few years gains that experience and reapplies, then he can get that job. It's just I knew that my value was gonna go up with age. So I would tell my younger self that, hey, you're struggling right now. But just know that in the future, you're going to go through this amazing transformation. And a lot of the problems you have now, like, they won't even be problems you have in the future. Like, you're worrying about silly stuff right now because, the old me, just dirty websites, video games, didn't know what else to do, didn't really have a job, and socially awkward, lacked social skills, but had to go through a lot of trial and error. But I learned, and, you craft yourself, like a sculpture into the person that you become.
I think that's great. One thing that I want to add to it is don't let anybody ever tell you what to do.
Oh, yeah,
Now,
that's a.
the reason why I say that
Mhm.
is because I wanted to start a dating coaching business like I
Mhm.
did for a
Mhm.
while. And I was actually dating a girl for a long time
Mhm.
who really like kept pushing back on me from doing something
Okay.
like this,
Hmm.
and that sucked. And but I kept listening to her, so I delayed doing this for years
Mm.
until we ended up breaking up, and then I
Mm.
actually pursued it. And I think about that, that's a lot of lost time.
Right.
Imagine where I could have been if I went ahead and followed what my gut and my passion was at
Hmm.
that time. I could have been light years ahead of where I am. So
Mm.
never let somebody tell you what to do.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously take advice on certain things, especially from those who have been through certain things before, or have more experience than you. But never let somebody else dictate what life you want to live.
Right. And it's interesting you say that because, right now, if I keep going down the path that I'm going, I'm probably going to be, reaching my peak around maybe like 32 to mid 30s. And, right now I'm just trying to build up my value. So when you're single like me, you don't have a lot of weight to be carrying around. But, if, before I reach my peak, if I do meet a woman, because, still incorporate, meeting women to my lifestyle. If I do meet someone who's going to help me build, yeah, that would be great. But if it were me or if it were her or the business, then I'm going to have to let her go to continue to build my business. I can't let her be an anchor. She has to be there to support me, a complement to my journey, not an anchor.
Hmm. Yeah, no, and that's great, and that's the complete opposite of like what I had before versus what I have now.
Mm,
Like my girl, I was talking to her about it the other day, and I'm just running out of time to edit certain things, and I just was expressing it to her,
mm-hmm,
and her response was, "I can learn how to edit. Do you want me to edit your videos for you?" Like that is a supporter in your life.
mm-hmm,
Versus in the past, I was dating somebody who didn't even want me to do that because it took time away from them.
mm,
I think that's huge. You want them to be Team Jesse. You want them
mm,
to be Team Huds. That's the
right,
type of partner you want. And anytime you don't have a partner that doesn't support you and your passions, then you're with the wrong partner.
right. So I have another question for you. Like,
Go ahead.
with no doubt about it, there's problems in our society, and I am open to the idea of one day having children. Probably not before 35 though. But what are your thoughts on, having children and raising them in our current society?
That's a great question. I actually have been moving towards that direction with
Mhm.
my girl.
Mhm.
So I do want to have children,
Mhm.
and I think I want to have them a little bit sooner than she does.
Mm.
But we're working through that together. I think that the current marriage laws are a complete mess,
Oh
and
yeah, that
that's why I've already explained to her that we are not doing a state marriage,
okay.
and she accepts that. It was a
Mhm.
little hard at first, but she accepts that because she wants to be with me. And it doesn't mean we're not together. It just means that we're not state married, so that we don't have to deal with the mess of the state. There's no reason for them to be involved, in my opinion. Um, so I think that there's no problem with having children.
Mhm.
I think the world is a mess, but it's up
Mhm.
to you as the father, as the leader of the family, to raise the children in the right way. So if you pick a good woman, she raises the kids for the majority of their time, and then once they become teenagers, that's when you really step in as the father and make sure that the clear boundaries and expectations are set. And I don't see an issue with it at all. We can still raise great children. And if anything, by raising great children, we're going in a better direction than it's currently going in by a lot of people raising kids in broken families and
Mm.
just not having boundaries and just causing the problem to get worse.
Right, right. And speaking of which, I want to talk about my own father briefly. And if you're here right now, hi dad. He could be. But he was pretty strict on me. When I was in grade school, if I got an A, it was just average. If I got a B or below, it's bad. I ran track and cross country, and if I did good, he said, "Okay, good. Well, you're supposed to." But if I didn't do good, he'd be sarcastically say, "Well, at least you finished." And I spent so much time on Friday nights, Friday afternoons, playing video games when everyone else my age was out being social. And he would take shots at me for doing that. Like, everyone else your age is out socializing. Why are you at home by yourself playing video games? I used to resent him for that. But now looking back, I'm almost, you know, I'm thankful that I had a father that, was a little hard on me, who gave me some tough love, because it's hard to come by, a good father figure these days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I think it's so important that we spend the time on self development so that we can be that good father.
Hmm.
Because I definitely think a lot of people fall short in that area. It's funny you say that when you're like, A's are good, anything less than, like, it sounds
Well,
almost like
A
my
is average. It's not good. It's average.
there
So.
you go. There you go. It's average. And then doing sports and stuff as well. And like they're like supportive, but they would also let me sit inside like every Friday night, Friday, Saturday night when everybody's out doing stuff and just play video games instead. And I think back to that and it's like I was just such a nerd. That's like all I did.
Hmm.
And it took a lot for me to want to make a change. And that journey took a heck of a long time, but I am just so happy to be where I am now.
Right, right. And the reason that I'm going on this journey, it's not only for the woman, because, like, I'm doing this for me. I'm becoming the best man that I can be. And woman and anything else, that should be a compliment. That's the icing on top. And from here on out, I'm going to do everything in my power to be the best man that I can be. That even if I'm laying on my deathbed and I still didn't get where I want to be, well, I gave it my all. I gave it my all.
Yeah. And even if you, like, let's say you're trying to get from a 1 to a 10, even if
Hmm.
you hit a 7,
Hmm.
well, you're living the 7 lifestyle
Oh yeah.
versus living the 1 lifestyle.
Hmm.
So, I mean, even that makes it worth it in my eyes.
And it's interesting that you say that, because you see a lot of videos where any man can go from a 1 to a 10. I mean, there's very few guys who are just born ugly or have deformities. I mean, yeah, some they just weren't dealt a good hand, but like most guys, if you look at how I looked, this time last year, my haircut sucked. I was chubby. My glasses looked weird, didn't fit my face. My style sucked. I looked like an overgrown child. And I went and I fixed all that. So you can really push your genetic potential, and you can really have good style and good facial features. If I went to the gym, and you you can really max out a lot of that stuff. Like, a lot of people aren't born ugly. Like, they just need to learn what to do right.
A lot of people are born average,
Okay.
and you can go from average to much more attractive to exceptional with a lot of simple things. As you said, going to the gym, I think style's a huge one.
Mm,
Like I wear clothes. A lot of my clothes actually come from Kohl's and other
mm,
discount stores
mm,
because if you find the right fit
mm-hmm,
and you match your colors and everything right, you look phenomenal. It really is that simple.
mm-hmm,
Fit is the number one thing when it comes to fashion and
mm-hmm,
fashion and style. And a lot of people don't quite understand that. So there's like so many little things that you can do that can raise you multiple levels in the sexual market value. And you just got to go looking for that information and you got to test things out instead of just saying, oh, I'm fat and gross and ugly. Okay, well, hit the gym and
mm-hmm.
don't wear basketball shorts everywhere. It really is that simple, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's just I look around. Like, what have men become? It's just we live in this sugar coated society. It's just like overgrown boys everywhere, and I think we really do need to bring back old school male masculinity.
Right. I would 100% agree. 100% agree. And instead of complaining about it, just do something about it. You have a wealth of information here on YouTube. You have so many books out there that you could read. Just go searching. Just go searching for the information and you'll find it. And if you need recommendations from people, find certain coaches or certain speakers that you resonate with, and you can ask them for recommendations, and just keep growing because you'll find your path. You just need to start carving it right now.
Right, right. And the internet's a really powerful tool. It's just too many people use it the wrong way. They watch these silly, goofy videos. You were telling me about before the stream, something about a dog and it got all these views, but you post something, actually informative and it doesn't get enough. Like there's not enough attention to, self-improvement, self-development. And there's all these other, goofy, silly videos that people are just watching them. So
Yeah, I
that's
thought
what
it was
it
I
be.
thought it was funny. Messi from winning the World Cup, his photo finally surpassed the egg photo. That was the
Mm,
most liked photo on Instagram. That's a
mm.
photo of an egg. It was like a meme or something, but it's an egg. Like, what are we doing, people? Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
silly.
weird to me.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like like I remember like back in the day, like that little cat video. The cat playing the piano. Like, why is that so popular? It's
Dun,
so
dun, dun,
weird.
dun, 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 dun.
Don't get it.
Yeah. I don't know. It is what it is, man. But hey, we've been talking for a while. I want to end with a last question for you.
Yeah.
What would be the top advice that you would give to guys to make 2023 their best year ever?
What you guys need to do is you guys need to find your passion and your purpose in life. What you were put on God's green earth to do. Okay, not conform with what the 99% or everyone else's society is doing, because you do what everyone else is doing, you're going to get those same results, which suck. So you need to figure out what you were talented in and pursue your passion, really craft that out and figure out what you're really good at, so that way you can really do something you're passionate about. And that's why I always encourage guys to be self-employed, to have their own businesses. That way they're able to build something and become the boss of their own life and become eventually have the potential of becoming financially free. Whereas working corporate America, working for another man, well, you're a slave. Like that's why, like, you guys need to, like, not a lot of people know how the world really works. So you guys need to figure out how the world really works and use that to the best of your advantage and ultimately become the best man that you can be, okay? I used to be that guy who used to go on the dirty websites, play the video games, eat the junk food. You guys cut out all that. It's not doing anything good for you, okay? The more you're on dirty websites, the more you're pushing away the woman that you really want, that you actually might have a chance with in the future. The more you play video games, the more time you waste, not working on the business. The more time you eat junk food, smoke pot, okay? That's less time you have at the gym. Like, figure out your life and, like, figure out a way to not be average and, like, be the very best. Because there's a lot of competition in the world, okay? And you guys are capable of so much more.
That's great. I think the number one thing that I would say with it, take inventory of your life.
Mm,
So when you have to cut certain people out of your life,
mm,
like this baggage as you were talking about,
mm.
the five people that you have around you,
Yeah.
take inventory of your life and understand that you may have to cut some of those people out, or at least severely limit the amount of time you communicate or see them. And that is scary. Okay. It's just as scary as leaving a job to become self-employed as you did. It's scary because then you don't have as many people around you, or you may, quite frankly, if you take true inventory, you may have nobody. But that's an opportunity for you then to grow, and you can find like-minded individuals that are also on a path, and then also can help boost you up. You can help boost them up, and then you're going to get to a whole nother level of yourself that you would have never thought you could have reached.
Right, right, exactly. So we got a question. What if you go to the BDSM? What's the BDSM communities? What's that? He has a question right there.
Um, I don't think it's necessarily relevant. It's bondage, dominance, submission, masochism. It's
Oh.
a it's a sex thing.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, no, I know a lot about it.
Hmm.
but that's definitely for a different discussion. You're not really going to find like good friends or people to be around there. It's because it's more. Now, I'm not saying you wouldn't find good people to be around there, but it's sex focused.
Right. And you talk about having a high value social circle, and men these days they're more lonely than ever. Like depression and suicide, that's going through the roof because they don't know what to do with their lives. I was there. I there was a time when I had trouble making friends. I went out solo because I had no choice. Either I go out solo and try to figure this out, or I keep suffering. So I really had no choice. And by
I
obtaining
did the same thing. I don't mean to interrupt you here, but I didn't even
right.
talk about it. I did the exact same thing.
Mhm,
So I had to move back home for a little bit,
mhm,
financial reasons, whatever. This is years ago, and I kept trying to get my friends to go out with me, and they
mhm.
wouldn't. So I spent an entire year going out solo every Friday night. I had this one bar I would always go to, and I just, it was sink or swim, and I got better and better and better at doing it. And dude, some of my favorite memories come from that time. And without doing that, I would have never developed to the social acumen that I have now. It really is. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it's scary as heck to do,
Oh yeah.
but it gets easier and easier and easier.
Yeah, because like think about it, you approach a group of people, you don't know what they're gonna do. They could immediately blow you off, or they could be cool, or they can just kind of tolerate you, or they can completely ignore you. Like there's so many different reactions you're gonna get, like when you're going out solo.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, anyways, Jesse, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, like you guys like find your tribe, find you might have to ditch your current friends if you need to for better ones, but like find people that who are gonna lift you up and bring you up, and who have the same goals and desires as you do, and to level up in life, and just find your tribe, find that group of people you can really get along with. And most people you're not going to get along with, but that's okay because once you find your tribe, you're good. So yeah, just I love this discussion, and I look forward to continue growing on YouTube, and for the growth of your channel as well. I had a blast on this stream, man, and happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas. Hope you all have a great New Year.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. I loved it. I loved it as well. I'd love to do some more stuff in the future. And as you said to the audience, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Let's make 2023 the best year of your lives.
Oh yeah.
All righty. Peace out, guys.